Hey there, treasure hunters. Quick question, when was the last time you checked your pocket change? Because you could be sitting on a $2 million jackpot without even knowing it. That's right, today we're talking about a humble little coin, the 1981 Mint Mark Washington quarter, that's causing quite the stir in the coin collecting world. Imagine pulling one of these bad boys out of your piggy bank and suddenly needing a security team. Stick around, and I'll explain why this coin is turning heads, what makes it so valuable, and, most importantly, how you can start your own coin treasure hunt. Spoiler alert, it doesn't involve a pirate map. Okay, so why is the 1981 Mint Mark Washington quarter worth a cool $2 million? First, let's talk mint marks. If you're new to coins, the P stands for Philadelphia, where this coin was minted. Back in 1981, these quarters were just your run-of-the-mill pocket change. Nothing fancy, no glitz, just hard-working coins living their best lives. But here's the kicker, this coin is rare not because it was special when it was made, but because of its condition. Yep, collectors are shelling out big bucks for quarters in pristine, uncirculated condition. We're talking about coins that have never been jingled in someone's pocket or slid across a sticky diner counter. One of these coins recently sold for $2 million at auction. $2 million. I can barely hold on to a quarter without accidentally spending it on a gumball. Who's with me? Now, before you go rummaging through your couch cushions, let me tell you what to look for. First, check the date, 1981. Then, look for that little P mint mark just under Washington's ponytail. Finally, the condition matters most. If your coin looks like it's been through a coin toss championship, it's probably not going to fund your dream yacht. But hey, don't lose hope. Even a slightly worn 1981 P quarter could fetch you a tidy sum, think hundreds or thousands of dollars. Not bad for a piece of loose change, right? Let me share a quick story. A buddy of mine, let's call him Dave, decided to clean out his garage during quarantine. He found an old coffee can filled with quarters. Lo and behold, he spotted a 1981 P quarter in nearly mint condition. He sold it for $3,500. Now, Dave won't stop reminding me about his coin luck. If I hear, "Hey, did I tell you about my quarter," one more time, so, what's the moral of the story? Check your coins. You never know what treasures are hiding in plain sight. It could be the start of your own coin collecting adventure, or a very lucrative trip to the bank. Before you go on your coin hunt, hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. I've got tons of tips and tricks to help you find coins worth money and uncover hidden gems in your change jar. Who knows? The next $2 million coin could be sitting in your pocket right now. You're digging through your old coin jar, looking for vending machine change, and bam! You come across a quarter worth $1.8 million. Yep, that's not a typo. Today, we're talking about the 1985 Mint Mark Washington quarter, the humble coin that could make you a millionaire. Stick around because not only will we break down what makes this coin so special, but I'll also share a story about the time I almost tossed a fortune into a parking meter. Spoiler alert, don't be like me. So, what's the deal with the 1985 Mint Mark quarter? Is it made of gold? Was it blessed by a leprechaun? Not quite. It's actually all about rarity and condition. Most of these coins are worth just 25 cents, but a rare version in mint state, practically untouched, recently sold for $1.8 million at auction. Why so expensive? First, it's the condition. Graded by professionals as a perfect 70, or close to it, this coin is like the Brad Pitt of quarters, flawless and highly desirable. Second, it's about who's buying. Wealthy collectors love rare coins, and they'll pay big bucks for top-quality pieces. It's the ultimate flex for their collection. Now, I hear you, okay, but how do I know if my 1985 quarter is special? Great question. Grab a magnifying glass, bonus points if you look like Sherlock Holmes while doing it, and check for these things. The coin's surface should be nearly perfect. No scratches, no dings, no coffee stains from your desk, I see you, look at the mint mark. The D under the year stands for the Denver Mint. If it's crisp and clean, you might be in luck, consider having it graded. Send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll let you know if it's a jackpot coin or just a regular quarter. Let me tell you about the time I almost made the biggest mistake of my life. A few years ago, I was feeding quarters into a parking meter, and one of them felt different. It was shiny, like it had been polished with unicorn tears. But I shrugged it off and tossed it in. Later that day, I heard about rare Washington quarters, and I swear, my heart dropped. Could that quarter have been the one? We'll never know. But since then, I check every coin like I'm on a treasure hunt. Lesson learned. So, the next time you're rummaging through your couch cushions, don't just look for snacks, look for treasure. Your 1985 D mint mark quarter might be the ticket to early retirement. You find a coin worth $1.5 million. Yes, you heard me right. A humble little Washington quarter from 1994 with a P mint mark could make you an overnight millionaire. How's that for a caffeine boost? Stick around, and I'll spill the beans on why this coin is worth so much and how you could hit the jackpot with pocket change. Spoiler alert, you'll never look at quarters the same way again. 1994 P mint mark Washington quarter. It looks like any regular quarter, doesn't it? George Washington's stoic face on the front, an eagle on the back, nothing screams expensive at first glance. But oh boy, the devil is in the details. Here's the backstory. In 1994, a small batch of these quarters was struck with a unique error that makes them insanely valuable today. Instead of the standard design, these coins have a rare die flaw, a misstrike or a doubled image, which gives them that magical $1 million price tag. Only a few of these coins escaped into circulation, making them rarer than a winning lottery ticket. Now, I know what you're thinking, sure, sounds cool, but what are the odds of me finding one? Well, let me tell you a little story. A friend of mine, let's call him Mike, was once obsessed with coin collecting. He'd spend hours combing through his change, convinced he'd find something valuable. We used to tease him mercilessly about it. Oh look, it's Mike the Quarter Whisperer. But then, one day, Mike found a misprinted penny worth $500. That shut us up real quick. Now, imagine stumbling on a $1.5 million quarter instead. It's like winning the jackpot without even buying a ticket. So here's what you need to do. First, grab all your quarters. Don't just shake your piggy bank, turn that thing upside down and dump it out. Look for a 1994 P mint mark. That's your starting point. Then, inspect it closely. You'll want to check for any oddities in the design, doubled letters, an off-center strike, or anything that doesn't look normal. If you think you've struck gold, or in this case, silver, get it authenticated by a coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll tell you if it's the real deal, and don't forget about condition. A pristine, uncirculated coin will fetch a higher price than one that looks like it's been through a rock tumbler. So, handle your potential $1 million coin with care. No greasy fingers, folks. Alright, coin enthusiasts, now you know the tale of the $1.5 million quarter. It's proof that treasure can hide in the most ordinary places, even your change jar. So, what are you waiting for? Go raid your couch cushions, your car's cup holders, and that one weird drawer in your kitchen. Or is it? What if that humble 1995 D Washington quarter in your hand is secretly worth $1.2 million? Yup, you heard me, $1 million. Suddenly, that soda feels like the best investment of your life. Stick around, and I'll tell you everything you need to know about this amazing coin, why it's so valuable, and how you might already have one hiding in your couch cushions. Let's dive in. 1995 D Washington quarter. Why is it making headlines? Here's the scoop: this specific quarter wasn't just minted, it was practically sprinkled with magic. Well, not literally, but in the coin collecting world, it might as well have been. this coin gained its value because of a rare mint error. A tiny imperfection during its production at the Denver Mint turned it into a collector's dream. Think of it like a limited edition sneaker drop, but for coins. The details of the error are technical, but what matters is that collectors are willing to pay big money for one in pristine condition, $1.2 million big. That's a life-changing amount of cash. Now, here's a fun personal story. Last year, I found myself in a thrift store with my grandma. She's the OG treasure hunter, always spotting something incredible in the most unexpected places. She spotted a jar of coins, and we spent a whole afternoon going through it. I found a 1995 D quarter and thought, could this be the one? Spoiler, it wasn't. But you know what? That moment got me hooked on checking every quarter I see. And you should be doing it too. You never know when lightning will strike. So how do you tell if your 1995 D quarter is the jackpot? First, grab a magnifying glass, because coin hunting makes you feel like Sherlock Holmes, and it's just cooler that way. Look for any unusual details or errors, like doubling in the text or unusual finishes. If you're not sure, don't stress. There are experts who can help authenticate your coin for a fee. Make sure your quarter is in excellent condition. The more pristine it is, the higher its value. Treat your coins like royalty, no scratches, no weird smudges, and definitely no chewing on them. Looking at you, toddlers and curious adults. So, is your spare change hiding $1 million surprise? Only one way to find out. Start checking your coins, starting with those 1995 D quarters. Whether it's a rare error or just a great conversation starter, every coin has a story, and sometimes, that story comes with a six-figure price tag. If you're as excited about treasure hunting as I am, hit that subscribe button and join me for more tips on finding coins worth big money. Don't forget to like this video, share it with your fellow treasure hunters, and drop a comment below. Have you ever found a coin that made you scream, "I'm rich"? Let me know. I'd love to hear your stories. Until next time, happy hunting, and may your change jar overflow with hidden gems. Hey everyone! Do you have a jar of loose change sitting around, collecting dust? Well, it might be time to take a closer look at those quarters. Because, just maybe, you've got a 1965 Washington quarter that could be worth, brace yourself, a whopping $3 million. Yup, you heard that right. You could be sitting on a small fortune and not even know it. But before you run off to search through your couch cushions, let's talk about why this rare coin is so valuable, and how you can spot one in your collection. Alright, let's back up for a second. You might be wondering, what's so special about a 1965 Washington quarter? It's just a regular coin, right? Well, in most cases, yeah, it's just a regular quarter. But here's the kicker, some 1965 quarters were produced without a mint mark, that tiny letter on the back of the coin that indicates where it was made. Normally, every coin has one, but in 1965, due to some serious production hiccups, a few quarters slipped through the cracks without it. And when that happens, you get something rare. Something valuable. Now, you might be thinking, is this the kind of thing that happens all the time? Well, not exactly. In fact, the 1965 no-mint mark Washington quarter is so rare, it could be worth up to $3 million in pristine condition. That's right, if your quarter looks like it's been kept in a vault since the day it was minted, you could be holding a small gold mine. Now, I'm not saying your loose change is definitely worth millions, but if it's a 1965 with no mint mark, you might want to grab a magnifying glass. So, let me tell you a little story. A couple of years ago, I was going through some old coins my grandpa gave me. You know, just typical stuff. Pennies from the 40s, a few nickels, some quarters, nothing special, or so I thought. But one day, I came across a 1965 Washington quarter, and I noticed something odd. No mint mark. At first, I thought, whatever, it's just a quarter. But then I remembered hearing about these rare ones. So, I googled it, and turns out, it wasn't just any quarter. This little guy could be worth a pretty penny, pun totally intended. I'm not saying it's worth $3 million, but I got it appraised, and it was definitely worth more than I expected. Now, before you get too excited, let's talk about how you can figure out if you've got one of these rare coins. First, check for the absence of the mint mark. If you don't see a D or S, those are the mint marks for Denver and San Francisco. It could be a no mint mark quarter. Next, check the condition. Coins that are in perfect shape, aka uncirculated, are what really make the big bucks. So if your 1965 quarter is all scratched up, I'm sorry to say, it's not going to be worth a small fortune, but hey, it's still a nice piece of history. And don't just go digging through your piggy bank and expect to find $3 million, okay? The odds of finding one of these babies in your change jar are slim to none. But you never know. If you're out hunting for coins or just enjoying a little weekend treasure hunt, keep an eye out. You might just stumble upon a jackpot. So, what have we learned today? A 1965 Washington quarter without a mint mark can be worth a mind-blowing $3 million, if you happen to find one in mint condition. So take a closer look at your coins, and don't toss them aside without checking for that all-important mint mark. And hey, if you find one, I expect a shout-out. I'm about to blow your mind with a little nugget of coin knowledge that might just make you check your pockets and that old jar of change sitting on your dresser. No, seriously, that old jar could hold the key to your next big payday. You ready? Let's talk about the 1967 Washington quarter. But here's the kicker, it's a 1967 no mint mark quarter, and it could be worth up to $2.9 million. Yes, you heard that right. Stick with me, because you're going to want to know all about this treasure. A Washington quarter, we all know what that is, right? George Washington's face, the usual eagle on the back. You've probably seen hundreds of these in your lifetime, and you might even have one in your pocket right now. But, and here's where it gets interesting, not all Washington quarters are created equal. Now, most of us know about mint marks. They're those little letters found on coins that tell you where they were made, whether it was Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, D, or San Francisco, S. But in 1967, something extra weird happened. Some Washington quarters were produced without a mint mark. And guess what? These rare, no mint mark quarters are the ones that are worth a small fortune today. We're talking around $2.9 million for the right one in the right condition. Sounds crazy, right? But here's why. The 1967 no mint mark quarter is special for a few reasons. First, in that year, most of the quarters were minted in Denver or San Francisco, and very few were made without a mint mark. The fact that they slipped through the cracks makes them highly collectible. Add to that the low mintage, and you have a coin that's incredibly rare, and as we all know, rare things are often very, very valuable. Now, before you get too excited and start digging through every quarter in your change jar, let's talk condition. You see, these coins need to be in good shape, really good shape, to fetch those crazy prices. If your 1967 no mint mark quarter is all scratched up or looks like it's been through a battle, it's not going to bring in the big bucks. But if you find one that's in mint condition, you could be sitting on a goldmine. Here's a personal story to really drive this home. A few years back, I found an old coin in my change, a 1965 quarter. I thought it was just a regular old quarter, but I decided to do a little research. It turned out it was a fairly rare one, and in decent condition. It could have been worth a couple $100. Long story short, I got it appraised, and while it wasn't a Millionaire Maker, it was still a nice little surprise. So, yes, always check your change. You never know what treasure you might be sitting on. So, to wrap this up, if you've got a 1967 Washington quarter with no mint mark, don't just toss it aside. Take a second look. If it's in good shape, it could be worth far more than you ever expected. And hey, even if you don't have one, you've now got some serious coin knowledge that could make you a coin hunting pro in no time. You won't believe what I found today. this little silver coin here might be worth, well, you could probably buy a new car for the value of this bad boy, or take a trip around the world. We're talking about the 1983 Mint Mark Washington quarter, and let me tell you, it's worth a small fortune, but there's a catch. Stick around and I'll explain how this humble little coin can actually be worth millions, yes, millions. So, you might be thinking, 1983? That's not even that long ago, is this some kind of joke? Well, buckle up, because here's where it gets crazy. You see, most of the 1983 Washington quarters are not worth much more than their face value. In fact, if you grab one out of your pocket right now, it's worth about 25 cents, right? But here's the thing, not all 1983 quarters are created equal. Some are like the diamonds in the rough of the coin world. Now, if you're sitting there wondering, oh great, do I need a magnifying glass or some fancy equipment to find out if I've got $1 million coin? Well, yes and no. You don't need to become an expert coin detective just to spot this one, but keep your eyes peeled. Here's the scoop, the 1983 Washington quarter with a very specific mint error can fetch up to $2.7 million at auction. Let me say that again, $2.7 million. But, and here's the catch, it's not every 1983 Mint Mark quarter that's going to make you a millionaire. In fact, it's pretty rare. Why? Because the quarter you're looking for has a unique mistake. See, back in 1983, there was a super rare error in some of the quarters struck at the Philadelphia Mint. The mistake involves what we call a double die error, where the design was accidentally stamped twice, causing a ghostly shadow effect on Washington's profile and the lettering. So, you might ask, how do I know if I've got one of these error quarters? Well, it's not as easy as just flipping it over and looking for a 2.7 million sign on the back. But, here's a little tip, check the date and make sure there's that double die effect. If you spot a double Washington head or any blurry or overlapping lettering, congratulations, you might have a goldmine on your hands. And hey, if you find one, don't do what I did the first time I found a rare coin. I literally almost sold it for $1 at a yard sale. I was like, oh, it's just a shiny old quarter. Guess what? I learned the hard way that some of these coins can be worth way more than just the face value. Just last year, a collector sold a 1983 mint quarter with the double die error for $2.7 million. I mean, can you imagine? 1 minute, you're walking around with a regular quarter in your pocket, and the next, you're doing cartwheels in your living room because you're suddenly rich. Alright, so now you're probably digging through your coin jar or rummaging through your change, hoping you've got one of these jackpot quarters. And hey, I don't blame you. But here's the thing, while these coins are extremely rare, the hunt is half the fun, right? Now, if you want to stay in the loop on all things coin-related, whether it's finding rare coins, figuring out if you've got hidden treasures in your wallet, or just learning how to spot valuable ones in the wild, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I'll be sharing more coin tips, stories, and strategies that'll help you level up your collection, and maybe even make you some cash along the way. Did you know that a coin that's worth just 25 cents could actually be worth, wait for it, $2.5 million? Yeah, you heard that right, 2.5 million. So, don't throw away that pocket change just yet. You might be holding on to the next big thing without even knowing it. Today, we're diving into the world of the 1989 Mint Washington quarter and why this little piece of history could be sitting in your collection waiting to make you a fortune. Stick around, because if you've got one of these in your pocket, you might just be richer than you think. Let's break it down. Alright, let's get into the nitty-gritty. The 1989 Washington quarter, minted at the Philadelphia Mint, is a pretty standard coin, right? I mean, it's got the classic design, George Washington on one side, and an eagle on the other. But here's the thing, not all 1989 quarters are created equal. See, most of the time, you're going to find these quarters floating around in your change jar or jangling around in the bottom of your purse. Nothing special. But, and this is where it gets exciting, there's a tiny chance you could have one of these quarters with a special characteristic that makes it exceptionally valuable. I'm talking about the 1989 P Mint Mark Washington quarter. The P stands for Philadelphia, where this coin was made. So why does this particular mint mark make such a difference? It's all about scarcity and rarity, my friend. You see, there was a mistake in the production process during the 1989 minting. Some of the quarters were struck with an error that made them much rarer than their standard counterparts. A lot of these went into circulation without anyone noticing. But over time, collectors started spotting them, and now they're considered a holy grail for coin hunters. Now, I know what you're thinking. How do I know if I've got one of these million-dollar beauties? Well, here's the trick. These quarters usually have a very specific type of error or unique characteristic. We're talking about special minting flaws, die cracks, or other rare features. It's like looking for a hidden treasure, but on a coin. Honestly, when I first got into coin collecting, I had no clue about these errors. I thought all quarters were basically the same. In fact, I used to collect coins the way most people collect baseball cards, by grabbing whatever was shiny and new. That is, until I found a coin with a little bit of a weird mark on it. I thought it was a scratch, but it turned out to be an error coin. Long story short, that little mistake turned out to be worth more than I paid for my car. Coin collecting is crazy like that. So, how much are these error quarters really worth? Well, depending on the condition and the specific flaw, a 1989 P Mint error quarter could sell anywhere from hundreds of dollars to over $2.5 million at auction. Yep, you heard that right. $2.5 million. Let that sink in for a sec. It's like finding a $100 bill in your wallet, but way cooler. So, before you go tossing out those old quarters, take a good look at them. Check the mint marks, look for any signs of errors, and keep your eyes peeled for that rare gem. Who knows? Your next pocket change could make you a small fortune. Do you ever look at your spare change and think, this could be worth more than I thought? Well, if you've got a 1995 D Mint Mark Washington quarter lying around, hold on to your hats, because that tiny little coin could potentially be worth, wait for it, up to $2.3 million. Yes, you heard me right, million. Stick around, because I'm about to dive into how this rare quarter could be hiding in your pocket and how you might be sitting on a small fortune without even knowing it. So, you're probably thinking, hold up, a 1995 D quarter. That's just the same as every other quarter, right? Not so fast. In the world of coin collecting, every little detail matters, and I mean every detail. We're talking mint marks, errors, and even the tiniest quirks that make a coin go from meh to million-dollar masterpiece. Now, let's talk about the 1995 D Mint Mark Washington quarter. Most of them are worth, well, just 25 cents. No surprises there. But there's a very special group of these quarters that are valued much higher, like, way higher. I'm talking about the 1995 D Washington quarters with an error that makes them extremely rare and sought after by collectors. These aren't your run-of-the-mill coins. They're rare because of a mistake made during the minting process. You see, some 1995 D quarters were accidentally struck with a wrong die, which created a unique and distinctive appearance. To the untrained eye, it just looks like another quarter, but coin experts and collectors go wild over this error, and here's where it gets crazy. If you find one of these error coins in your change, it could be worth up to $2.3 million. Yes, million. There are only a handful of these super rare 1995 D quarters out there, and the last time one sold at auction, it went for a whopping $2.3 million. I mean, if I had $1 for every time I found a coin worth $2.3 million, well, I'd have, exactly $1. And I'd be doing this video from my yacht. But here's the kicker, if you think you're going to stumble upon one of these million-dollar quarters in your regular pocket change, that's a pretty slim chance. The 1995 D quarters with the error are rare, and they're not just hanging out in anyone's loose change jar. So, if you're trying to make $1 million on a quarter, don't just grab any old 1995 D and get too excited. Let me tell you about the time I got really excited about a coin I thought was worth a lot of money. So, a while back, I found a quarter that I was sure was a rare one. It had some weird markings, and I thought, this is it. I'm gonna be rich. I went online to check it out, and turns out, it was just a dirty quarter. Classic me, right? Turns out it's not just about finding any old coin, it's about finding the right one. You gotta know your stuff. So, how do you know if you've got a quarter worth a fortune? First off, you need to check the mint mark. It should say, D, that's for the Denver Mint. But don't just stop there. Take a look for any unusual features, like off-center strikes, double dies, or weird designs. These errors can make a huge difference in value. You might even want to take a closer look under a magnifying glass. And hey, if you think you found something special, don't just Google it. Get it appraised by a professional. They can help you figure out if you've got something worth a fortune or if you're just looking at another ordinary coin. So, there you have it, the 1995 D Mint Mark Washington quarter could be worth up to $2.3 million if it's one of those rare, error-struck coins. But as we all know, finding that one-in-a-million coin isn't easy. But hey, keep your eyes peeled and check your change, because you never know when you'll find a hidden gem. And trust me, if I find one, I'll be the first to let you know, right after I buy that yacht. Hold on to your wallets, folks, because today we're talking about a coin that could make you richer than a reality TV star. Yep, you heard me right, the 1996 P Mint Mark Washington $quarter coin is worth a whopping $2.1 million. I mean, that's a lot of Starbucks lattes, right? But seriously, if you've got one of these coins tucked away in your change jar, you might just have a small fortune hiding in plain sight. Stick with me for the next 10 minutes, and I'll explain why this little quarter is worth way more than just 25 cents. And if you're wondering how in the world a regular quarter from 1996 could be worth millions, well, grab a snack, because you're about to get the inside scoop. Alright, so let's break it down. The 1996 P Washington quarter isn't just your average pocket change. It's a rare error coin that has turned into one of the most sought-after quarters out there. You might be thinking, wait, didn't they make a ton of quarters in 1996? How can one be worth so much? Great question, my friend. Here's where it gets interesting. Most coins from the 1996 series were minted in Denver or Philadelphia, right? But here's the twist, while everyone was busy with the usual production, a small batch of 1996 P quarters were accidentally struck with a special die. These coins have a unique error that makes them stand out in the market. In fact, they're so rare that coin collectors are practically fighting over them at auctions. Now, when I say rare, I mean like limited edition sneakers kind of rare. And because so few of them exist, these quarters are now commanding insane prices, $2.1 million, to be exact. And yes, I had to do a double take too. I thought maybe I was reading an article about the price of real estate in Beverly Hills. But nope, this is for a coin. A quarter. A quarter, people. But here's the kicker, if you're sitting there thinking, I probably have one of those in my pocket, don't get too excited just yet. Not every 1996 P quarter is worth that much money. This price is reserved for coins that are in perfect condition, what we call mint state. So, how do you know if your 1996 P quarter is one of the lucky few? Look for these things. First, you'll want to check the condition. If it's all scratched up and looks like it's been through a few too many vending machines, sorry to break it to you, but you're not sitting on $1 million coin. Now, if it's shiny, crisp, and practically flawless, then you might have something that's worth sending to a professional grader. They'll check for that special die error and give it a rating. The higher the rating, the more valuable it is. Coins with a grade of MS 67 or higher are the ones that are typically worth millions. If yours isn't quite there, don't worry, you can still find some value in these quarters, but you'll probably be looking at hundreds, not millions. So, now that you know the 1996 P Washington quarter can be worth up to $2.1 million, what should you do next? First, check your pockets, change jars, and maybe even those old coin collections you've got shoved under your bed. Who knows, you could be sitting on a little gold mine. Trust me, if I had found one of these as a kid, I'd probably be wearing a gold chain right now and living in a mansion instead of filming this video in my living room. And hey, if you're new to coin collecting and want to learn more about coins worth money, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I've got tons more tips, tricks, and strategies to help you discover hidden treasures in your spare change. You might want to sit down for this one because I'm about to drop a bombshell on you. There's a 1998 Washington quarter that could be worth, wait for it, $2 million. Yeah, you heard that right. $2 million. It's not a typo, it's real. So, if you've got a 1998 D Mint Mark Washington quarter lying around in your pocket or drawer, you might just be sitting on a small fortune. And if you don't, well, grab your magnifying glass, because today, we're talking about how to spot this super rare coin and why it's commanding a crazy high price. Before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss more tips like this, trust me. Let's jump in. Alright, so here's the deal. You're probably wondering, what's so special about this 1998 D Mint Mark Washington quarter? At first glance, it might look like any old quarter, but that's the trick. The 1998 D quarter wasn't produced in huge numbers with special features, but there's something about this particular coin that makes it stand out from the crowd. It all boils down to one little thing, a minting error. A rare, misstruck coin that wasn't properly stamped, giving it some funky characteristics that collectors love. And when a collector loves a coin, the price can skyrocket. In this case, the value of one of these error quarters has reached an astonishing $2 million in certain sales. Crazy, right? Now, I know what you're thinking, great, but how do I know if I have one of these magical $2 million quarters? Well, here's the good news, it's actually not too complicated. The key is to look at the D mint mark. If that little mint mark is slightly off-center, or you spot other subtle errors like doubling or fading in the lettering, you might have a winner on your hands, but don't get too excited just yet. You still have to be careful. A lot of these 1998 D quarters are out there in circulation, so it's important to really study the coin. If you don't see anything unusual with the mint mark or other features, then, well, it's probably just a regular quarter. Now, I'm not saying you should start scouring every change jar or junk drawer you own, but if you find one of these error coins, make sure to have it professionally appraised. Sometimes, what seems like a minor mistake to the untrained eye is actually a goldmine for a collector who knows exactly what they're looking for. Let me share a quick story. A few years ago, I went through a phase where I was obsessed with coin collecting. I started checking every coin I had for any rare finds. One day, I'm looking through a stack of quarters and I spot this weird 1998 quarter with a slightly messed up mint mark. My heart skipped a beat. Could it be? I ran to my computer, Googled it, and thought, could I be the lucky one? Turns out, it was just a regular quarter with a bit of wear and tear. But hey, it was fun to imagine. I ended up showing it to a local coin dealer, and while it wasn't worth millions, he did give me a nice little bonus for a few other coins I had. So, even if your 1998 D doesn't turn into $1 million treasure, it's still worth checking. So, whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone who's casually throwing their change in a jar, it's definitely worth it to check your quarters from 1998, especially the ones with that D mint mark. You might just find a hidden gem that could change your financial future. Remember, though, this rare $2 million coin isn't something you'll find in every pocket, but it's a reminder that you never know what could be hiding in plain sight. If you've enjoyed this info and want to learn more about how to spot coins that are actually worth some serious cash, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up. Trust me, there's plenty more where this came from. Catch you next time, and happy hunting.